Alright, in this video let's review the model phase. Now one thing you'll notice is in the 4.4 software the layout essentially is similar. We do have some new tools that we'll review later on. But one of the nice things that we have is that our tool menus remain open. They no longer collapse up and down. In fact, you can have them open and you can set your surgical stage, your design stage, as any way that you would like. So you can move these around, you can minimize them, you can make them larger, smaller, so that you can adjust this to the level of space that you need on your desktop. And the nice thing is every time you come back to a screen, however you've laid out that screen, the software will remember. So we're at the model phase. Now it's also important to know that we do have an automatic buckle bite. So what I've done here is I've gone back to the acquisition phase, and you'll notice that the wheel is spinning because what's going to happen is that the software is going to go ahead and try to stitch the buckle bite automatically. So no longer do you have to do it manually. Now if you see some error and for whatever reason you didn't have good imaging and you did not get a good stitch, simply click the reset button and now you have the buckle bite as we normally do, where we can now go back in, set it up manually, and the buckle bite is now set manually like we normally do. But the default of the software is that you have an automatic buckle bite. On every screen that you go through, you will also have this help window. This help window, you can scroll through and it gives you instructions on what to do. You can turn these off by clicking X here, or we can just go to the icon and just turn it off there. Again, these screens are movable and we can set them up to whatever our preference is. The tools here remain the same. We have our edit model tool where we can go in and use our model, and again you can see how these options are permanently available. So we can turn these on and off and we can set the displays to whatever we want. Me personally, I like to have the tools open. I like to have the display objects open so that I can toggle very quickly back and forth between upper and lower teeth. When I click on the analyzing tools, these are the analyzing tools that are available. Analyzing tools I don't use as much, so I can simply move this over here on the other side. So on the tools here, we've got our cut tool, which we can use to cut away bits and pieces of the model if you've imaged a cotton roll or a tongue or a cheek accidentally. We have our replace tool, and that replace tool can be used to replace the defective areas of the model. We have our form tool, and the form tool can be used to either add or subtract from the model. And one of the new features is that instead of the circular areas to change the size and the intensity, we have the slider bar. So this makes it bigger or smaller this way. So if I go to the form tool, I can make the size smaller, I can make the size bigger. Here it indicates the size of the tool. This is now the strength of the tool. Do we want it to work at 100%? Do we want it to work at 15%, 60%, whatever your preference is? If you see this slider arrow on the side, that means I can move this down and there's more stuff on the side for me to use. Okay? If I move this up, this screen up, then what ends up happening is that we can no longer have that slider arrow. So again, you will adjust these to your preference, and every time you come back to this screen, you will be in the same spot. If we go to the model axis now, under the model axis, again, the model axis is very similar, but again, the difference is we don't have that big box in the way, and I can very quickly toggle up and down between the arches, and we set our model axis as we normally do. Nothing's changed here. Once again, if I want to keep the analyzing tools on, I can turn it on. I don't really find the need to go to black and white or adjust the model box here. So this is not something that I'd normally have on, so I'm going to always keep it minimized. The display objects I do have on and off because I'm going to set the model axis personally to whatever arch that I'm working on, and so this is very quickly allows me to go and change to whichever view that I want to. And again, the tools that we have available here are we're just setting the model axis or resetting the model axis. So once we set the model axis, we'll click OK, and now I can move forward and start designing the restoration. In the next video, we'll discuss all of the new design tools that are available with this current software.